I got an invitation last year on April 2nd to come to the King David Hotel, and where the Sanhedrin, the discussion of reestablishing the Sanhedrin, the Ger Toshav, the Cohen, anointing the Cohen Gadol, anointing the lineage of the line of David, which is Mashiach ben David. It's a whole list of things. Let me see. Here. So what it says, So what it says Nissan 2, 5782, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., King David Hotel, Jerusalem, Israel. All rabbis, Torah scholars, Kohanim, Levim, Temple Mount activists, politicians, descendants of King David, who desire the restoration of the great Sanhedrin of the 71 judges, a king of the line of David, and the Levitical Kohanim priesthood, peace in the land of Israel, and Ezekiel's third temple on Mount Zion are invited to join us. No mask or vaccination required. Kosher Lahidrim lunch and dinner provided. Halakhic discussions on as follows. Restoring the great Sanhedrin of 71 judges in Jerusalem. Restoring the small Sanhedrin of 21 judges in cities of 120 men. Appointing the king of the line of David. Appointing a Kohen Hagadol in the line of Aaron. Establishing a temple treasury in Jerusalem. Restoring Masor and Truma to the Levites. Establishing a yeshiva for Kohanim and Levites. Restoring Shemitah and Yovelim, which is the Jubilee. Restoring the Ger Toshav status to non-Jews. Doesn't say Noahides, guys. Building 42 cities of Levi and the 6 plus 3 cities of refuge. Uniting the right-wing Knesset parties to restore Sanhedrin funding and Sanhedrin, and many other topics tied to Geula, which is redemption. If you are interested in contributing or participating in the planning committee of the Sanhedrin Restoration Conference, please contact Rabbi Yosef Edrei in Israel. Now, that happened a year ago. That happened. So it's not that it's not on their agenda. It's not that it's not on their mind. And it's not that it did not happen.
Well, I mean, as long as it's, it is coming up to the forefront. That's why we're talking about it. And that's why, the righteous from among the nations are discussing it, which, I personally like that. I've been having these discussions to where I don't think it's possible for the righteous among the nations to keep their mitzvahs, which they're commanded by God to do, without a Sanhedrin, because how are we going to create courts of justice if there is no Sanhedrin?
If there's no courts of justice.
If there's no courts of And so we're constantly getting told.
That's right. And
we're constantly getting told about how the majority, and they say, well, the majority of the rabbis believe this and the majority believe that. Well, the idea is none of those majorities have the authority of a final say.
And that's correct.
There's no established halakha.
Especially when there's a machloket. And here's the secret of the Talmud. The secret of the Talmud, the soul of the Talmud is this. The majority rules is the Shekhinah. If the Shekhinah is present with the majority, then the majority rules. But the Shekhinah is in exile. So how can you have majority rules when the Shekhinah is in exile? Until they establish the majority rules, which is called the Sanhedrin, then the Shekhinah is back. in its form.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So what they have done, so here's the secret of the majority rules as most people see it. As most people see it, majority rules means we've got more people than you, so we're the majority. Well,
that's what they're trying to imply when they're making a ruling
right.
on how
there's
to
more.
poskin.
There's more. Okay, there's more Christians in Islam than there is Jews. So if we're going on warm bodies, then there is no majority. Oh, well, that only means for Jews. Well, you changing the rules.
The majority within a minority.
Yeah, you're changing majority to the minority and saying the minority is the majority. So don't give me that, right? So the Talmud is based on the Shekinah, is based on the presence of God on these men, and we know in Talmud, I think it's in Sanhedrin at the very back end of it. I could be mistaken, but I believe it's in Sanhedrin because we're talking about Sanhedrin. When all these men died, when this man died, prophecy stopped. When this man died, it stopped. The da 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 da. Okay. Well, all that stuff is over. When the Amoraim and the Tanaim passed away. This is why guys like the Rambam had to come along and say, since we don't have these guys anymore, we've got to take the basic aspect of any of this stuff and make a ruling called the Shulchan Aruch. And that's going to be what we're going to go by. The problem, well, it's not a problem. It's a issue, is that the Mishnah Rabbah says in Genesis 49, around 10, somewhere around in there, when it's talking to the prophecy of Judah, in the scepter will not depart from Judah till Shiloh, which is Gematria Moshe, arrives, because Moshe is going to be resurrected and is going to be the aspect of Mashiach, of the law aspect, right? Because Adam is Aleph, Daled, Mem, Adam, David, Moses. When this aspect, the Mashiach ben David is going to be part of the aspect of Moshe, that Elijah is going to come and is going to correct all the issues of basically the wrong teachings, because the Midrash says you have made blood of grapes. You didn't make wine of grapes, you made blood of grapes. It means you have taught those other nations wrong. And if we don't see that right now, I don't know what we see. And so it's a very obscure midrash. So we know what's going on. We know why it's going on. We know what's going to happen. We know the correction that's going to happen. We already know, because the sages tell us. The Ben Ish Hai tells us. The Gaon of Vilna tells us. Ravali tells us. Shimon Bar Yochai tells us. The Baal Shem Tov tells us. They all tell us what's going on and what's going to happen. All we have to do is follow their lead and say, marker number 1, marker number 2, marker number 3. And then we take what we know in Torah, from the oral Torah, which is the aspect of the Shekinah, and we apply it to 3D, our land, our land today, the physicality, the geopolitical process, we have Ishmael, Esau, and Yaakov, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. And we watch how it's playing out. And we see the aspect of the Vatican and the manipulation and everything that's going on there, which is going to be complete destruction of that. And we see what's going on in Islam. So Daniel, the prophet, tells us in the what's called the Adam Blia'al, the Adam of the other side, the head of gold, the arms of silver, chest of bronze, legs of iron, and the feet of iron and clay. That the head of gold is Babylon. The arms are Media Persia, the whole Esther times. We have the Greek, which is the chest of bronze, which is the Hanukkah, the Maccabees. And then we get to the legs of iron. Now, the legs are the longest part of the body. So this exile is going to be the longest and the hardest because iron is hard. This is the Roman exile. And within one leg is Rome and one leg is, which is Esau, and one leg is Ishmael. But really, the iron is Rome, the Iron Age, the Industrial Age, the Dark Ages of where we had the iron, the sword, the whole thing. You know, this has lasted for 2,000 years. And then you get to the feet of the statue, which Daniel says is mixed with iron and clay. Iron is Rome, Esau. The clay is Ishmael. He says, well, two elements do not mix. And when you mix iron with clay, the clay and the iron won't mix and the statue will fall, which means the backside, the exiles will fall. When these exiles fall, because Islam and Christianity don't mix. And if you look at our government right now, we have Omar and we have all these aspects of the Islamic Brotherhood or whatever you call it. You know, we're trying to make deals with all these different things. Armulus, as the Kol HaTor says, which is Abbas, Arafat, and what's the other one, Russell? There's the three members of the PLO are the angel Armulus that comes against Israel, and the Arab Rav, which are all the mixed multitude, the bad Jews will call. And so you ask yourself, well, why doesn't God just get rid of the Arab Rav and Ishmael and Esau and everything that's brought all the destruction of the Jews? Because the klipa, the shell, you can't have a pecan unless you have a pecan shell. They have literally built Israel. The Rothschilds have built Israel. The Christians and their money coming to Israel has built Israel, has financed. They literally, the nations have financed the whole thing. So when you start pointing fingers, you don't understand the plan. So the plan is the nations build what they destroyed. It's genius.